Ready? Hello everyone, this is Abisola Omoyele Oladende. I'm popularly known as Yele. I'm a fashion designer and a fashion educator based in Baltimore. And today I want to address a topic that I feel is very integral to the life of not just business owners but also fashion designers, or not just fashion designers but also business owners. And it is about pricing. It's like the elephant in the room. Everybody wants to know how much to price this product or that product, and want to know the formulas behind them and all the the whatnots that we need to price our products. So there are three main things that are key in pricing your products. The first thing is the cost of the materials that you used. The second thing is the cost of labor, and then the third thing is your overhead. Now, the materials, I think that one is pretty straightforward. You already know how much your materials cost, and you already know how much material you need for each of your projects. So let's say you have a nice evening dress or a prom dress that you want to make, and you need just 4 yards for that. That is very easy. You know how much it is per yard, so you just know the cost of the materials. Don't forget to include shipping if you have to ship it over, and don't forget to include taxes if you have to pay taxes for that fabric. So let's say we have our cost of materials, we put it aside. Now the next thing is our cost of labor. Now the cost of labor is how many hours you spend making this dress and how much you are paying yourself per hour to make the dress. So everybody asks, how do I know how much to pay myself per hour? That's another good question. It depends on your level of experience. Now, if you've been doing, let's say fashion design, because I'm a fashion designer, so let's focus on that. If you have been being a fashion designer for a long period of time, your hourly rate might be about 40, 50, 75, even 100. So it depends on, your level of expertise. If you're a beginner and you're just coming into the business, I would say the lowest you should pay yourself is $15 per hour, because that is like minimum wage. So please don't undercharge yourself. And you can go all the way to $25. So $15 to $25 per hour is good for beginners. For middle, let's say you started 5 years ago and you're not that vast, you can pay yourself between 25 and 40. So having known how much to pay yourself, we have the number. Then you multiply it by the number of hours that you spent making the product. Now, please don't include the amount of time that you used to eat while making the product. Don't include the amount of time that you spend dancing while making the product. Make sure that the hours are correct and they are specific to the time that you spend actually making the product. So, and another thing with fashion designers is when we think about making the product, we only think about the time it takes to sew the products. That is not true. You also have to think about the time you used to create the patterns, the time that you spent looking for fabrics if the person is not providing fabrics and you have to be the one searching for the fabrics. You have to think about the time that it took you to sketch the drawing or to sketch whatever it is that you are using as your inspiration. So think of all those hours and all those times and add them together as the total number of time that you spent. Now the third thing is overhead. Now this doesn't apply to everybody, because some individuals make their pieces inside their own homes, so they're not paying for rent like an outside studio rent or a atelier rent or all of that. But if you are making your products outside of your home, you are making it in a space that you are renting or paying per month, number one. Number two, if you are paying for advertisements, Facebook ads, marketing. Number three, if you are paying for office supplies, digital programs, like I pay for ChatGPT. Sorry, but I had to put that out there. So if you're paying for like different things like that you have monthly subscriptions for, you have to make sure that you account for that. And the number to use is like the addition of all these overhead costs and divided by how much products you are making per month. So if you are making 5 products per month and the addition of your rent, supplies and all of that is, let's say, is 1,000. So you say 1,000 divided by 5 is what? That's 200, right? that's I think that's so so you know that that's your overhead, but it might not be that high, but just know the numbers that you are using for your overhead. In some situations the overhead can just be $20, in some situations $5, some situations is $100. So just know what your overhead cost is. Now that we know what the cost of materials is, we know what the cost of labor is, and we know what our overhead is, you will add all these three numbers together. Now let's use my examples. Let's say that the cost of your materials was $60 in total, right? That's 60. And let's say the cost of labor, you spent 20 hours and you're paying yourself $20. So 20 times 20 is 400. So we have 400 plus 60. So we have 400 plus 60, and that's 460. And let's say your overhead is let's say $30. So 460 plus 30, that puts you at 490. Now we have our number as 490. Now let's move on to the next stage of this. The next phase is your profit or your markup. Do not confuse your profit with how much you pay yourself. Paying yourself is your labor. It is not profit. Okay, so let's say you have 490. Now you have to know how much profit you will make on your product. You can mark it up by 1.5. You can mark it up by 2. You can mark it up by 3. What I mean by that is just whatever the number is, you can multiply it by 1.5. You can multiply it by 2. You can multiply it by 2.5. So let's say we want to mark it up by 2. So that just means we'll multiply 490 by 2 and we'll have 980. So for that dress that you spent 20 hours making and you bought material $60, that means you're going to charge your customer $980 for that. And do not forget to include your sales tax, because you have to pay tax at the end of the day. And depending on the state that you are in, like I'm in Baltimore, my sales tax is 6%. So I have to put 6% of the 980 into the final cost of the product and then send it out to my client as that amount. If you follow this formula diligently, you won't have any problem knowing how much it costs and how much you should charge your clients. The only thing is to know how you are going to mark it up by. If your clientele is a kind of clientele that can afford luxury wares and luxury pieces, you can mark it up by 2 or mark it up by 2.5. If your clientele, they're the kind of people that they don't want to, they don't really have that much money, or they don't really want to pay, or you don't position yourself as a luxury brand, you can multiply it by 1.5. So that is the part of the profit gain that makes one fashion designer's price different from another fashion designer's price, is the markup and the kind of clientele that they have. I hope this has answered all the questions that you have on pricing. If you have any other question for me, make sure you put it down in the comment section. I am always available to answer you and make sure that I can be of help to you. Till next time, it's your girl Yele. Bye.